Hello everyone and welcome. In this video I am recommending Save Me, a show written by and starring Lenny James. I do not go too heavily into spoilers in this video because this show is a mystery show, it's a thriller, and I don't want to ruin it for you, so you just need to watch the show, okay? Just watch the show. Watch it. Otherwise I'll come to your house and slap your cat. What the hell am I talking about? Let's start the video. As I said in that intro, Save Me is a show written by and starring Lenny James, and after watching this show I just wish that AMC would let him handle all the writing duties on Fear the Walking Dead because he'd do a much better job than these two fucking idiots. So there you go. There's my one per video fear bashing out the way. I have like a quota. I have to bash fear once per video. It's written in my YouTube contract, okay? Anyway, let's move on. Lenny James plays a working class Londoner called Nelly who is a bit of a dickhead but also kind of lovable at the same time. You just can't help but like him. I don't think he's a bad person. He just makes bad decisions. Like, he gets into fights, he argues a lot, he kind of annoys people and rubs people up the wrong way. He's quick to anger. Previously, he signed like over parental responsibility of his child to the mum and the stepdad. I'm assuming just because he thought it'd be better if she wasn't in his life and he didn't, he wasn't around her just because of how much of a messed up character he is. And at the start of the show, he's like living in a flat with his girlfriend or the girl he's seeing, and he ends up cheating on her. And yeah, he's an asshole, but you just can't help but like him, and that's why I really enjoy watching his character. And it feels like this show is kind of a big redemption arc for his character as he goes on this journey to rescue his daughter. The show begins with Nelly being called into questioning by the police over the disappearance of his daughter, and Nelly doesn't know why he's been called in because he hasn't seen her for years. And then the police show him a video of his daughter Jodie that she recorded before she went missing, saying that she's really excited to see her dad. I can't wait to go meet my dad. I'm going to go meet him tomorrow. I'm so looking forward to this. And she hasn't been seen since. Now, obviously, Nelly is very confused. He doesn't know what the fuck's going on. He's had no contact with her. So, he has to go on this journey to find out who she's actually talking to, who's taken her. And yeah, it's about this father who's been absent, trying to really step up and try to rescue his daughter. Now, the premise of the show itself isn't anything original. I mean, TV, video games, movies, they're full of stories nowadays about men with kids, men looking after kids, men trying to help their kids. It's not exactly a new thing. It's nothing original. It doesn't reinvent the wheel. But what I love about this show is its setting. So I found an AMA and Ask Me Anything thread on Reddit by Lenny James, and someone asked him about what was his motivation behind this show. Why did he create this show? And Lenny James answered by saying that he wanted to create a thriller show that was centered on, or a thriller story rather, that was centered on characters who aren't normally the centerpiece of thriller stories. And I really like that approach because, if we look at how Hollywood would approach this kind of story where a kid's been kidnapped or a kid's been taken, you look at, Taken, the movie, which stars Liam Neeson, this dude who I can't remember. I've only watched it once. It's a long time ago. But isn't he like ex-CIA or some special cop forces guy? Whatever. The point is, this dude has a lot of resources. He knows how to fight. He has guns. He's a bad man. He'll call you up and say, I'm going to get you. I can't even remember the take. What is the iconic Taken quote? I can't even remember. There we go. Let's just take that clip and put it over Liam Neeson going, I'm going to get you. I'm going to get you. That's my version of Taken. All right, mate. I'm going to get you. Why did I sound Australian then? You're all right, mate. I'm going to come and bloody get you, I am. That's right. I'm coming for you. Anyway, the Australian version of Taken. Jesus Christ, what am I talking about? But so my point is, normally these thriller films have a dude who has resources, who, knows how to fight, right? But Lenny James's character, Nelly, is the complete opposite. He's a working class guy who's down on his luck. He has no resources. He doesn't know how to fight. He's at odds with the police. He gets frustrated because the police don't seem to be helping a lot and, are taking their time with their investigation. And also, the dude doesn't even own a fucking car, which I find just hilarious. The fact that you've got a story about this guy trying to rescue his daughter, and then he has to go to his ex-girlfriend who he cheated on and say to her, can I please have your car keys to look for my daughter because the dude doesn't even own a car. And I just think that's brilliant because it's just so different to what, we're normally used to with these kind of stories. Excuse the noise in the background. I just think it's, brilliant because, like I said, normally the characters in these films have a ton of resources. They have friends they can call on. They have guns. They have skills. and Nelly is just a normal man, and I really like it. It's a really unique approach. Despite the fact that the narrative of this show goes into some very dark places, you know, child trafficking and all that kind of stuff, I won't spoil too much. It goes into some very dark places. To me, it's oddly comforting despite these tones, just because it feels kind of real to me. You know, it's set in a working class estate, like a council estate in London. I grew up on a council estate in a town called Ashford in Kent. The estate I grew up in was a place called Stanhope, which the locals referred to as No Hope, because if you're born there, you got no hope. You're fucked. You're poor. This place was a shithole. People were doing drugs. It was just massive tower blocks, massive blocks of flats. They've changed it now. They've kind of renovated it and knocked all the flats down and made it a better place to live. But yeah, I grew up in a similar kind of environment, in a working class environment. And it's nice to see that represented on screen. And it's also nice to see characters have conversations, to me, that feel realistic, because as a Brit, as I'm sure that most other Brits do, I consume a lot of American media. I'm sure most people around the world do. I think, you know, American media is probably the most popular when it comes to TV shows and films. But a lot of the times when I'm watching American shows, you know, the conversations can sometimes feel inauthentic to me. You know, even if sometimes they are well written, they can sometimes feel a bit strange to me, because you know, it's just a cultural difference of how people talk, and you know, it's not what I'm used to seeing, I guess. And you know, perhaps sometimes there are conversations where there's nothing wrong with the writing, but for me, something just feels off because it doesn't feel real, because that's not what I'm used to. You know, it's not how people converse from where I'm from. It's nice to watch a show where the protagonists just feel like real people that I could meet on the street, you know, and it's also nice to see them using slang which I use, and you know, which people in Kent use, because London isn't far from Kent. There's a lot of people from London who live in Kent, because you can get like the high-speed train to London. It takes like 20 minutes on the train. My dad is from Colchester. He's from Essex, which is closer to London. So he uses a lot of the same slang that Lenny James's character does on the show. For example, there's a piece of dialogue where Lenny James's character Nelly says, "I'll give you a bell later," right? And that doesn't mean I'm actually going to give you a physical bell. I'll give you a bell means I'll give you a phone call. I'll phone you, because Alexander Graham Bell invented the phone. And that is something that I've heard growing up my entire life. My dad always says it. He always goes, "Yeah, I'll give you a bell later. I'll give you a bell later, son." His accent is more, you know, more Essexy, more London than me, because of he was obviously lives closer to there when he was a kid. But it's just nice to see the kind of slang and the wordplay that I'm used to, that I've, you know, been around growing up. It's nice to see characters on screen that talk the way I talk for a change. It's kind of nice, you know. I don't know how much of this dialogue will go over Americans' heads. I know that most of my audience are American, so I don't know if, you know, you'll have a hard time understanding what some of the characters are trying to say some of the time. I don't know, but please don't let that put you off, because it is a really good show. I really enjoy it. And like I said, to me, it's just nice to have a show which has working class characters, which has normal people in it, people who I can kind of relate to. And it's a far cry from, you know, Lenny James in Fear the Walking Dead, where it feels like his dialogue was formed by feeding Chinese proverbs into some fucking AI, okay? Like, his dialogue is so awful in that show, and in this show he just sounds like a normal dude, and I really like that. I also like the fact that the working class characters of this show do really pull together to help out Nelly, you know, despite the fact that Nelly can be a loose cannon at times and has been a bit of a dickhead to you know, to most of them. I like that there's this real sense of community. And you know, I mean, the show makes it obvious that this isn't a nice place to live. Like, you wouldn't want to live there. But at the same time, you know, Lenny James tries to kind of humanize these characters and tries to kind of show, like, the beauty in the rough, the diamond in the rough, I guess, you know, and show that, yes, it's kind of a rundown, horrible area to live in, but, you know, there are nice aspects about it. The people there do care about one another. They do help out their neighbors. And, you know, there is a sense of community, despite the fact that, you know, it's kind of a bit of a shithole to live, basically, you know, a shithole area. But I like that. I like the fact that Lenny James tries to humanize these characters and tries to find, you know, the good out of the bad. Because, you know, a lot of the times, working class characters on TV, especially in the UK, like, they're treated like fucking idiots. I mean, if you watch EastEnders, it's just people screaming and shouting at each other, killing each other, right? And that's a show about working class Londoners. And anyone who watches that show would think, Jesus Christ, these people are all scumbags, right? But this show is the opposite. It tries to show that, yes, these people may be poor. Yes, you know, they may live in a rundown area, but they're not all fucking assholes. And I like that. The story itself is really fucking tense at times. Like, this show is really tense at times because Nelly just gets himself into situations, you know, where he has to. You know, he has no choice to get in these situations in order to find his daughter in some really dangerous situations with some bad people. And, you know, again, this is a dude with no experience, doesn't have any money, doesn't have any resources, and it's really, like, nerve-wracking seeing him come against, you know, the people he does come against in this show. Again, I don't want to spoil it, I don't want to spoil too much, but there are some scenes where you're just watching it thinking, oh my god, like, this is bad, like, this is really tense. There is one scene in particular that I want to talk about just because of how good the acting was in this scene. And there's a moment where Lenny James's character Nelly sees his friend Mellon stepping out of a police car. And Mellon is played by Stephen Graham, who is a fantastic British actor. He's in a film called This Is England, which is a phenomenal movie. He's been in loads of stuff in the UK. He's a really fucking good actor who doesn't quite get, you know, the credit he deserves. Like, I don't think I've seen this guy put in a bad performance. He's such a good actor. But anyway, he steps out of the car, and then Morgan, not Morgan, I'm thinking of The Walking Dead, Nelly then says to his friend, who's with him at the time, I think it's like the lady who owns the bar that he goes to, he's like, why are the police interviewing Mellon? Why is he stepping out of the police car? And she replies by going, oh, well, it's normal procedure to interview anyone on the sex offenders list when there's a kid gone missing in the area. And then Nelly's like, what the fuck? He's a sex offender. Like, that's his friend. So the next scene is like one of the most tense scenes in the show, and there's not many scenes where, you know, that I've seen in TV or film where I'm like, yep, this is too much, like, this is fucked up. But what happens is, obviously, Nelly is like in full rage mode, and this is something which happens in the show, is that the longer the show goes on, the more paranoid he gets of everyone around him and starts turning on everyone, thinking they've got something to do with the disappearance of his daughter, and he gets more desperate. And I think Lenny James puts in a brilliant performance in this show. And there's a scene which stands out to me where he goes to Mellon's house, walks in with a fucking knife, and Mellon's there with his girlfriend. He tells them both to sit down. They're like shitting themselves, like they're terrified. And he's there going, you need to fucking tell me where my daughter is, I'm going to fucking stab you. I'm going to fucking kill you. You need to tell me where your daughter is. Like, and the dude, he's so fucking angry, and they're like terrified. Like, again, Stephen Graham is brilliant in this scene. He's absolutely fucking shitting himself. And I was just thinking, oh my god, like, he's actually going to kill these people. He's actually gone into this house with a knife, and he's going to fucking kill him with no evidence. I know the dude's on the sex offenders list, but it doesn't mean he's done it, you know. And the reason he's on the sex offenders list is because it turns out, I think he got with his girlfriend when she was 15. The legal age of consent is 16. Look, I'm not defending it. It's still not legal, but does that mean he's really going to, you know, kidnap kids? Does it really mean he's interested in kids? I don't know. It's a debate which, you know, it's one of the questions that they raise in the show. Like, is this guy, you know, really a child sexual predator, or did he just, you know, fuck up by going out with a girl who was a bit too young? You know, either way, it's disgusting. I'm not defending it, but you shouldn't be dating teenagers either way, right? But, you know, you have to kind of think to yourself, is this guy like a real threat, or is he just some fool who went out with a schoolgirl because he's a fucking idiot, right? So it's hard. Like Lenny James's character, Mellon is a very complex character. I mean, there's another scene that stands out to me where he's on the dark web and his girlfriend finds him. He's on the dark web, like, at nighttime, and his girlfriend walks in, and she's like, what the fuck are you looking at? And he's like, I'm looking for pictures of Jodie. He's like, these websites are disgusting. I don't want you to do it, but I'm trying to find Jodie. I'm trying to see if anyone's uploaded videos of her, if she's been taken, because I know how to get, you know, to these websites, right? And at that moment in time, you're thinking, well, if he knows how to get to these websites, then he's a fucking pedo. Like, this is fucked up. But maybe he was trying to help. I don't know. He's again, he's a very complex character. You have to watch the show to decide. Like, it's weird. How do I say this? He's a sex offender. He's a scumbag. But, like, nothing in this show is black and white. You know, nothing in this show is black and white. Like Lenny James's character, he's very complex, you know. Yeah, I want to say I just fucking hate the dude, but Stephen Graham is kind of likable anyway as an actor, and I mean, I guess, you know, one thing sex offenders do is they come off as kind of likable because that's how they, you know, get kids and get people to them, is that, you know, they pretend to be a likable person. So it might just be an act. But anyway, he's a very complex character and he plays the role fantastically. But anyway, yeah, the scene in question is just brilliant because you're just watching it thinking, holy fuck, he's going to kill these people. He's going to fucking kill these people, like, with a knife. It's not going to be pretty. It's going to be messed up, and, like, the girl, she had nothing to do with it. She was just the dude's, you know, the dude's girlfriend. It's like, why do you want to kill her? But, yeah, there's many scenes in this show where Lenny James's character just fucking loses it. And you really feel for him. You really feel like this is a man, like, who's fucking just on the edge. Like, he's going to explode. Like, if someone looks at him the wrong way, he's going to accuse them of taking his kid, and he's going to fucking lose it, you know? So, yeah, it's a really good show, really tense show. I don't want to spoil anything else. I don't want to say anything else about the show because, I mean, the show's premise is a mystery, right? It's a, what happened to my daughter show. Where is she? So I don't want to spoil that and say anything more about it. But Lenny James is fantastic in it. Stephen Graham is fantastic in it. There's 2 seasons so far, and they are only 6 episodes each. Lenny James has said there's going to be a final season, another final season of 6 episodes, which will wrap things up. So I think, 18 episodes is a reasonable number of episodes to tell a story. And I've enjoyed both seasons so far. I'm looking forward to the final season. Yeah, so I think this is a great show, which doesn't quite get the credit it deserves because I don't know anyone else who's watched this show. And I only kind of happened upon this show. I only found it by pure chance because I was on Now TV, which is the streaming app in the UK where this show airs. I don't know what this show would be on outside the UK, unfortunately, what streaming service what this would be on. But yeah, I was going through Now TV, and then I saw this show pop up, and I was like, oh, that's Lenny James. I'll give this a go, and I really liked it. So yes, I would absolutely recommend Save Me. Very good show. It might be a bit too British for some. That's one of the reasons why I like it, because it's just, like I said, despite the fucking horrific themes in this show, it's very easy for me to connect with being from the southeast of England, and I think the lead performances in this show are really fucking good. And it's just, like I said earlier, a unique take on the genre. Just having a dude who, in a thriller story, who is not, an ex-special military CIA guy. Just having a regular dude in the story who doesn't have resources, doesn't have a car. Most people fucking hate him, and he's got to try, and fix relationships and try and find his daughter. His ex-wife, that's up in the air. The stepdad fucking hates him. And yeah, I like it. It feels real. It's a good show. I really like it. I can't recommend it enough. Please give it a watch. It's a really good show. So let me know your comments in... let me know your comments in the thoughts below. It doesn't make any sense. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Have you seen this show already? And if you haven't watched this show, will you watch it? And I am struggling to talk now. I think I'm having a stroke. So I will finish the episode. Goodbye. The video. See, I don't even know what I'm doing. It's a video. It's not an episode. Right, bye. Let's end this video now. It's all going wrong. Bye.